So turn that up a little bit more. So I ain't got my glasses today. Should have brought some water down here. It's a little stuffy. What I wanted to do for you guys, kind of adding on, um, I kind of felt like I was moving just a little bit. Uh, the digital journals and all of the stuff that I've been doing, they're all right. Get a little reverb in there, make it seem like I'm really in a hallway. So the journals and all that is basically little daily stuff to be going on and some of my thoughts in terms of the workplace and maybe a little bit of personal stuff here and there. Work related or work related from past times or stories that people tell me or things I see on the way to work, back from work, whatever the case may be. I talked about the trip I had on St. Paul and I thought about all of those bodies. I thought about all of those guys that was just kind of standing around or something like that. And I'm like, man, I wish. I guess now it's really not my job because they grown, but it would have been nice for me to just. I wish I could have just had a bunch of Being Black and IT books with me. You know what I'm saying? And just passing some of the. Maybe I might start doing that. Maybe that might be some of my ministry. You know, it's older. I mean, it's applicable. You could still use the knowledge, but AI is different. Remember, when I wrote this book, there was no AI. I mean, there was AI, but it wasn't openly. It wasn't something. Unless you were using like insider edition test protocols and prototypes, it wasn't something that was very much with spread. So, um, in that regard, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell you guys a whole lot about it. I'm probably one of the most vehemently opposed and bullheaded person when it comes to AI, given that my entire background has been pretty much tech since the age of 16, 17 plus. And you would think that I would have embraced this much more. But when I walk into a damn store and you can't get nobody and they want to put a robot there and all that, yeah, I'm probably one of the most biggest hypocrites you guys know. When it comes to that, you're like, well, yeah, he's preaching this tech SHI. He's because I look at it from a different lens. And I got to see different things working at different companies. So I might have access to certain things that the average person may not have been able to see. So I know the direction. We use it as a tool. There's nothing we can really do about it. We can't stop it. But there's nothing good that's gonna come out of this, y'all. I'm just letting you know. It's nothing good's gonna come out of this. You might be able to get some things, research funds and stuff like that in there, but all in all, yeah, I don't think it's going. When you walk into a store, and every time I got to keep tapping somebody because this damn machine don't work because there's not an actual body there. That's problem. I hate dealing with that. It's like I got to go over and talk to this one dude because this damn 10 of these machines done took a bunch of people's jobs. So you can't get no good customer service. And now what you're doing in a sense, I was listening to, I think uh it was Prince that was talking about like the future of streaming or some of that stuff. It was Prince, it was David Banner, I think T.I., a couple others. It was some people that were saying, when this wasn't such of a thing, like, hey, the direction that this is going, this ain't good. This isn't going to be good for the consumer, and it's not going to be good because, the beauty of technology. The beauty of technology, but then you have, okay, you getting $7 a CD, and you're an artist, and now you're getting pennies. What the hell? But it's here, so let's use what we got. Try to be as constructive as possible to try to insulate yourself, I suppose. But like I was telling y'all, and I kind of expressing, me going back to my roots, how I started. I had to kind of get back in the workplace because I was having some trouble, and so I ended up doing some, not really desktop support. I guess you could call it desktop, but going back into deployment and stuff like that, and doing some project coordination. But at the same time, I never lost sight of some of the skill sets that I might have accomplished or obtained within these last few years, especially working remote. Working remote has been extremely hard for me to go back into the office and being around people that are constantly around you, not giving you your space. Just, I guess I could say going back to be normal people. I'm still kind of coming out of that, almost damn near being shell shocked, because I'm used to now having a system. And see, here's my hypocritical part coming in again. I'm used to having a system where if you say or do something slick, it's all digital. It's all on Microsoft Teams. It's in Jira, so you can't pull the stuff that they used to pull in the office when you're working remote. They have to do it in a different way. They have to do it in a different way. It's different. So now I was talking about how, like, I was dealing with, I had some things in my resume that I kind of want to share. And remember, I wrote that API book, the API piece. And let's go into here. I'm going to start reading from the Tech Manifesto. As you can see, this one is saying not for sale. This is like one of my author copies. So I don't know. I may have to put this on eBay. It might be worth some money one day. This is like the original. So if you go into my book, if I could find, that's how big the damn book is, man. It's too big. Maybe I made it too big, but I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. There we go. So if you go into, at this point, I don't think I had the pages. I had to kind of go back and forth. But if you look right here, I didn't have the pages. So it looks like it might be around page 100. You could probably see this just a little bit. So I talked about why you should learn APIs. And in this section, I'm going to read you this little piece. I said, well, for the better part of 2022, I supported some API technology for a bank. I decided to hire a software developer to write a quick guide on how to support APIs. His name will not be mentioned out of request. Now, I asked him, I said, you wrote this. Now, I paid you contract money, so I own the words. This is mine. I paid you as a contractor. But I want to give you credit. Do you want credit? He don't want credit. He said he don't want his name on it. I said, all right. So this is from Upwork. So then I said, I wanted an expert to give you their take from a developer standpoint, which is beyond my expertise. This is written so you could download Postman and get a basic working knowledge of the software. Therefore, you can put this on your resume immediately. There are many companies in need of techs with API experience, such as business analysts and business system analysts. Infotech professionals with banking and financial experience or in the insurance domain can expect to have an extra edge on the competition when you have API, SQL, process improvement, and project management skills. So what I did, I went back years ago, and now it's 2025, so it seems like it's a long time ago. So I haven't really touched a lot of the Postman stuff recently. So what I've done is I want to show y'all something here, and I want to break this down. This is a position that I saw that's very familiar to me. This posted 2 days ago in Minneapolis. Now, I'll go a little deeper into some of my experiences at some point in time, but what I want to do is read what this is. So you're working, this is a bank. So what you're doing is you're working inside an infrastructure in which you're not dealing with anything that has to do necessarily with help desk. You're not going to be dealing with help desk. You're not going to be dealing with quote unquote desktop support. You're not really going to be doing a lot of password resets unless, of course, it's in some kind of it might be some kind of authentication software where the APIs, because let's say you're buying a house, or let's say you're wiring a bunch of money. This is really what you're dealing with. Now, when they say business system consultant, that can mean almost anything. So they're saying this person is going to identify and analyze business needs, which means you're going to talk to different people in different departments. You're going to conduct requirement gathering. You're going to talk to people in different departments. You're going to define scope and objectives for company-wide business systems integrated in technology development and infrastructure. This means you're going to talk to a whole bunch of different people. You're going to look in Splunk and look for errors. You're going to communicate to different people when it comes to some of the systems going down. And we're talking about payment systems. That's pretty much what you're going to do. Evaluate business problems, provide technical assistance in identifying automated systems, gateway teams, phones. So basically, you might get a call from a developer. He's going to ask questions about what they call the gateway system. This is gateway. This is what they use. Now, this used to be internal at one point in time, but now it's public. Open banking APIs for payments and data. So basically, as you can see, payments, transfers, accounts, lending, cash management, APIs, and SDKs. This is the kind of stuff that I was dealing with. Now, you could go here and you could look at all of the different products that they have. Now, developer resources is what we were promoting. So you might have an API reference for an account balance. And as you can see, you can generate an API. Now, you could go to something called Postman and download this. This is it right here. You could watch a demo. You could download it. You're basically dealing with different software developers where they're telling you to generate an API key. Basically, you're getting one thing to talk to another. That's all you're really doing. And if it doesn't work, it's going to show something like this, or this is how you generate the API key. So you could test it. You could go to all different kind of tests. You got to make sure the header is right and all this kind of stuff. They support Ruby. They support Java, Python. This is the kind of stuff, the backend stuff you're going to be supporting. All right. So now review complex technical business problems that can be resolved through intranet or internet-based solutions. So you'll be looking at this, and you'll have a software developer. He's going to call you and say, oh, well, this doesn't work. You might send him this, and then you could just go ahead and just test it in Postman. All right. So now, present recommendations for resolving business problems, technical writing, provides user guides, identify areas of enhancement with the gateway developer. So all you're really doing with that is updating documentation. Exercise independent judgment, project plan, schedules. So what you're going to end up doing is somebody is going to say, you might be on like a so-called on-call, and you'll develop a schedule where there's going to be updates to some of this software, or some of these people might have to make modifications on their back end. It could be public key infrastructure, basically like public keys, private keys. There might be upgrades to the system itself, and then you just tell them what they need to do. Troubleshoot issues and fix related defect, assist with step-by-step instructions on how to reproduce the issue. Like, once again, you going into here, you grabbing something from here. This is the format that it's supposed to be. Enter your authorization, content type, gateway ID, all of that kind of stuff. And most of the time, I didn't even really mess with this. I went straight to Splunk to find out what the issue was. 2 years of business system analysis. All right, so let's go over to BP here. Now, I absolutely have that. This is my first API position. I was working on the Gateway project. So I use Postman, Apigee, Splunk. Apigee is basically like a password reset. It got some other things too. So we'll get into that in a moment. 2 years of client authentication tools. Well, I already did that. So you're basically just talking to people about public key infrastructure. Do you have your public and your private keys? 2 years of client service or related business experience, large enterprise. Got that. Database provisioning baseline standards. I didn't never use that. Technical writing, online documentation, Splunk certification. I ain't got that, but I use Splunk heavily. They're not allowing no visas Yeah, they ain't allowing no visas. They're saying America first, I guess. But you got to be on site. Pay is from $26 an hour to $47 an hour. Now, if I had this kind of experience, what's the first thing do you think I would do? Go on Splunk and do what? What I would do is I would take this. This is the first thing I would do. Go and get a free trial. Learn some of the training courses, because you're going to use Jira with a position like this. Free training. They got some e-learning courses. This is what you want to do right here. What is Splunk? Intro to Splunk, using fields, visualizations, working with time. And a lot of times what people will end up doing, they'll have like a Splunk formula already at the jobs. So when you're looking at positions like this, you're thinking, man, you got to be a developer to know this stuff. This is tough. You don't. You ain't got to know nothing about development. Absolutely not. Untrue. Now, when you get into more DevOps stuff, you're probably going to want to know, because I had a little experience with the DevOps, and I told y'all about that story. When I learned a little bit about Kubernetes, that kind of helped me talk my stuff. You see what I'm saying? That kind of helped me talk my stuff to kind of get up in there. So I kind of shifted my mindset and career out of basic desktop support and system administration. You're not really you're administering the systems, but your job isn't to basically fix hell freezing over. That's not your position. What your job to do is to make sure that the money is moving. Now, you're not focused on how much the money is. No. You are focused on the back end systems as to why the money don't move. Now, this week, I just happened to see that. So I said, instead of arguing with folks saying, well, we want you to be doing this, that, and the third or whatever. And when I'm asking, hey, let me get what I need. Well, we got to wait. Don't put that back on me. I said, you know what? I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm just going to go back to my roots. I'm going to look at the skill set that had been keeping my boat sailing for the past 2+ years. Went and did that project, that contract through a company. I won't say the company, but did the Gateway project, turned around and did a project with a company much like TCS for a large health-based company, I'll say. So now that last job, I'm not gonna lie, that was based off like APIs, but that might have been even more simpler. That position was using Postman a little bit more. We didn't really have Splunk on that one, but it's still dealing with APIs. So I had somebody just reach out. There was 2 of them. One of them, remember I told you with TCS, they need that same company. So remember, I'll just go ahead and say it. There was a company, big company out of India called Persistent. Nothing bad to say about them, much like TCS. So I did a contract with them. They said it was supposed to be contract to hire. They always say that. They said that there was global consolidation. What that basically means is we found some Indians to do your job for much cheaper. That's all that means. So they were kind of, dragging the wagon, not really getting back to us as to when the contract was going to end. And then we kind of noticed that there were some shifts. So I said, all right, cool. So when that ended, I went and jumped up on a super BS help desk position just to keep the things going. I thought I was going to be able to do both. But that one contract with the API support ended. And that's when things started going kind of left for me. So that's why I was telling y'all I had to get back out in the field and do some OSI layer 1 support for a while until I could get back into working remote and then getting to higher pay. That's what kind of happened. A lot of people, they don't want to go and say, well, man, I fell off for a little bit. I could admit that. I fell off for 1 year, big time, super big time. Ain't happened in 25 years down there. Fell off big time. But I had to get back on the horse. And I had to do some things that I didn't want to do in order to get where I needed to be. You see what I'm saying? So, and I was willing to do that. So now the tables are coming back around where I'm seeing some things that are kind of popping up where I have my greater skill set for it. You know, much rather have something permanent. So, you know, I said, well, one place was like, oh, you have experience in health records. I was dealing with health records when I was at that last API support contract. Paid pretty good. You're not having a slew of 100,000 different tickets and whatnot. You know, you learn how to do the job. It's pretty simple. You see what I'm saying? It's pretty simple. And so with me going back to the Lions Den, that makes me think about something. That really makes me think about something. So let me go ahead and deal with it. Let me not forget about that. The Lions Den. Remember that, the Lions Den. Me getting back out of the Lions Den, I might need to consider going back to a more highly skilled role, right? If you're contracting, don't be afraid to do that. Think strategically and say like, okay, don't always think the grass is going to be greener. You can stop that right there. It might. But now, if you could find something that better suits your skills, that might be something to consider. A lot of people will get cold feet because they're like, well, I'm here with something, I could do this. You may not know how long that will last either. You see what I'm saying? And so you're kind of like, well, damn, I don't want to go over here and then I'm back looking again. I understand that. I get that. Now, for young folk, I want to read an article. For y'all. Generation, let me see if I can see. Younger folks, don't listen to none of them old Negroes telling you younger folks that y'all ain't no good. Don't listen to them old niggas. Well, y'all just young and you stupid. You see what I'm saying and all that. Don't listen to them, none of them old niggas. They ain't really got nobody no money, and they ain't really got a whole bunch of accomplishments besides what they got for themselves. Don't listen to them. I'm in my 40s. Don't listen to none of them old niggas unless they got something constructive to say. Don't let them tell you, well, back in my day, we had it better than y'all. Yeah, don't listen to them dudes. Don't listen to those guys. They don't really want you to have nothing anyway. You are the future. Don't forget that. You gonna be the people while they sitting up in a nursing home. You might be the one helping wipe their ass. Not that I want that for you, but what I'm saying is you're the people that's gonna be running the world when I'm dead and gone. Don't listen to none of these old Negroes trying to sell you a dream that everything gonna be just fine just because you pull your pants up and you go vote. Don't believe that. Don't let them shame you into thinking that your generation is 10 times worse than theirs, because their job was to set things straight so you wouldn't have to be dealing with what you're dealing with right now. There was supposed to, this right here, and I say it all the time, this was supposed to be done over 15 years ago. This shouldn't exist. I say this on my website. Some people say, well, man, you selling books. You shouldn't say that. This should not exist whatsoever. We shouldn't even have nothing like that. Well, DP, what do you mean? Why would you say something like that? Why would you tell people that you shouldn't have it? Not because I don't want you to buy it. That's not why. We shouldn't have that because there were supposed to be open doors already for you young folks. We were supposed to have put something in place for you to just be able to come in the door. Now you're going to have to work. I get that. But you shouldn't need this to help you navigate. All them old Negroes should have already had you gamed up 15, 20 years ago. You should have had somebody that would have gamed you up. We shouldn't be going to this. This is something I had to do because it wasn't happening. You see what I'm saying? So, but anyway, there was an article, and I'm trying to see. Give me a second. And I think I'm going to do the response. Remember I told y'all, like, I'm like gatekeeping our culture and keeping our culture. There was oh damn, I may have to do a story time on that. Okay. That wasn't it either. I got a bunch of stuff I could do. Jeez. All right. Well, that's not going to work. There was an article that well, until I find it, I'm going to give y'all some game that my homie Titan sent me. We're going to do a program with him once he wants to do one, and I'm going to be a damn student. I'm just going to sit there like a little 2-year-old. I'm going to sit there like I'm one of them, that little Nightmares character. And I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to let him game us up, because I don't really be looking for the new software too much no more. And my homie sent them to me. Y'all need to go ahead and check this out. Ollama.com. I want y'all to go check this out. I'm not going to recommend nothing to y'all that ain't going to work for you. I want y'all to go check that out. And I want y'all to download Postman. Whether you buy my book or not, I want y'all to go download Postman. Start playing around with that and slap it on your resume. If you have a whole bunch of trouble with your resume, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all like, man, he's going to look up for my resume. He's going to spend hours and hours and hours. I used to do that. Them days is over. I'm having Brother Chat do that. I'm going to make your resume look good. I ain't working hard no more. Nope. I'm working smart. If I want to work hard, I work hard at the gym. I was just detailing my car. I work hard with that. I can let Brother Chat do the rest. I let this damn computer do the rest. Since y'all trying to sell me on AI, you got to think. You got folks, well, Timbaland about to have an AI artist. I was talking about that in my second book. That ain't good for hip hop, Timbaland. You a legend. Why would you do that, bro? Like, we done got lazy now. That nigga said, man, I ain't gonna be doing no artist development for none of these drug-induced Negroes. I ain't signing no artists. I'm gonna have an AI artist. I couldn't believe it. I looked at Timbaland different when he did that. Like, damn, dude, you don't wanna. He's like, man, nah, shit. He gotta be time to dealing with no human beings. Timbaland's like, no, I'm gonna make an AI nigga. I'm not gonna be sitting around with you folks waiting on you to show up to the studio and all that. I'm just gonna make an AI nigga. Man, I don't know what he was. Shit, he probably gets. I don't know. He's probably tired. Probably tired of folks running up to him, rapping to him. Ain't got no CD, did whatever. I don't know. He was just probably tired. But there was an article that came out on the new man. I gotta find this, bothering me. I gotta find this. What are y'all younger than me? Gen Z, how to get a job. Everything's AI now. You ain't gotta look for nothing. It's not just you. No one can find a job now. Damn. Hold on. Let's take a look at this. Shit. Whoa.
Welcome to Class Gang. Today's question is, if unemployment is so low, why is it impossible to find a job right now?
What's up with this nigga? He doing too much. Let's go find something that he just look like he. I'm trying to find. There was something at CBS. Okay, let me see if I can find it with CBS. Yeah, that nigga, I don't know what he was on. All right, this is the one, y'all. This came out May 20. I was supposed to do this article with you guys. I was supposed to kind of cover this before. So this is the same thing that was told to me, okay? So it says graduation season. First of all, let's go to the top. Give the writer some credit. This is by Pauline Lee. Gen Z grads on the job hunt can stand out with these tips. All right, so graduation season, and many grads are looking forward to getting out into the working world. Finding a job can be difficult. New numbers from the Federal Reserve Bank. You don't need to see my face. It's more important. Of New York found 5.8% of recent college graduates were unemployed. That's about 2%. That's about 2 percentage points higher than the national unemployment rate. The biggest struggles, according to 71% of the Gen Z grads surveyed, are getting noticed and securing an interview. Brandy Britton, executive director and career expert at Robert Half, has said these are several things grads can do to help land their jobs. Work with a mentor. Utilize your school's career services. And this is something that I think I talked about in my second book, as what I was saying. Some of these colleges, they should provide. It shouldn't just be you getting your degree. College and school is just gladiator school. You're just seeing if you could be in the workplace. Can you work with people? That's what that's really about. But here's the thing, man. These schools will sell you guys on this program, and then now you're paying anywhere between $10,000 to $70,000 to $100,000, and you come out and you're not making that. You see what I'm saying? That's a problem. And it should be something to where they should be able to prove to you. It's like they're the defense. They need to prove to you that you didn't do the crime. The burden of proof should be on the school. Hey, why should I sign up with this program? Now, some of them do that and they get numbers and they'll say this percentage of people that graduated, that got plugged in. Well, everybody don't go to Harvard. Everybody don't go to the U of M. Connect with alumni in a field they want to enter. Now, this is where things can get tricky at, because I hate to say this, but economics is war. Economics is warfare. I want y'all to understand that. Your little friends you used to hang out with at the sandbox in 5th, 6th, 7th grade, you in the world now. It's Book of Eli time. It's Book of Eli time. So you got to get around some folks that don't mind seeing you get a bag. Ain't no sense of being around them if they do mind. You got to get around some folks that don't mind. Highlight their experiences in college to show relevant skills. Yes, I remember the time when I was taking some cybersecurity classes. This was some time ago. Before that, I remember when it was frowned upon when you said the word side hustle. That meant crime, or, oh, you don't have any real world experience. Used to hear that a lot when I was coming up. You don't have any real world experience. Well, I learned this in school. You can't use that. That changed. They actually had a panel where they had these little cornball white dudes in front of a little cybersecurity panel talking about, yeah, just cook the books. So what they was basically saying is anything that you did, just slap it on the resume. They was even going as far. I was sitting there on a panel listening to these folks. Some of these folks were saying, man, just put it on there anyway, even if you ain't did it. If you just do one lab, just slap it on there. So I said, okay. A lot of these folks that got into that game, some of them weren't even necessarily proficient. They just got with the right people and got put on. It says research the company before the interview and ask questions. Now, I think in my first book or second, there was this thing called something MD. I used to ask job interview questions that I know that nobody would ever ask. I would start going into the fiscal years and I'd ask questions that would just blew their mind. And I'd have 3 of them. I'd ask one interviewer this question. I'd have one interviewer this question. And then I start talking about stuff, little white shows like Game of Thrones. That's what I would do. Worked every time. Worked every damn time. Because you got to make yourself relatable. And now you got to be a little bolder. Like in interviews and stuff like that is different. And now, like I told y'all before in one of my programs, before I took the contract that I'm messing with, there was a bank that wanted to pay me like 30 plus an hour more. And they were ready for the interview. It was the second time that they had set something up. And now that I look back, like, man, I should have took that shit. Even if it was 6 months, because I would have been able to make more money within 3 months than I would in 9. But I was stupid. But I'm a man of my word. I said, okay, I could start this time. So I went ahead and went with what I had. Because the day that they wanted to interview me was the first day that I was supposed to start the new gig. I didn't want to go in and say, well, man, I'm calling in sick. You know what I'm saying? Be open to be open to new and different opportunities. This is the main one that they said. And I've been doing this. I've been preaching this gospel since I started in the game. Consider contract work. Britain said that's a great way for new grads to get additional skills. I see a young little dude right now. He's interning. He's getting in. I'm gonna tell y'all something. They had a bunch of interns coming in. I think I've said this before, but they had a bunch of interns coming in. I'm gonna get ready to lock this down because I don't want to go over 40 minutes. Y'all gonna get tired of my ugly face. They had a bunch of interns coming in to meet one of the big CEOs, one of the big CEOs. Oh yeah, I wrote down some game for y'all. It's $1 billion dude. He messed with billions of dollars. Let me see if I still got it. I'm gonna tell y'all the game that I got out of it if I still got the notes. I got too many stories for y'all. This is my little notepad. I still write stuff down. I don't put everything on the phone. Remember, I was in the studio. I don't do the phone thing. Stack Doe do the phone thing. Stack Doe was doing on the phone. I was like, bro, how you write all your lyrics on the phone, bro? Bro, he be on the phone. I'm like, man, I can't do it, fam. How do you put your lyrics on the phone and just? I just can't. Oh my gosh. Do I not have it? Okay, that's not good. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Should I just pause it? Ain't okay. Some folks say I say too much, I do too much. I don't think I do enough. There's a lot of stuff I can't put on this internet. I'm trying to give y'all as much as me as I possibly can. I'm not gonna say I was out here doing El Chapo. I'm just saying, like, can't tell everything. Sometimes you gotta hear about that when I'm gone. Yeah, you're going to hear from the descendants. You know what I'm saying? Man. Anyway, let me see. Experts say people who are willing to work in person and are flexible with their starting salary have an advantage, and it could take college graduates 3 to 6 months to get hired. So practice patience. This wasn't like this in 2008 for me, y'all. I want y'all to know, and I'm talking to the young folks specifically, you were sold out. You were sold out. You were sold out by a lot of these old Negroes. And anybody white listening to me, you were sold out by these white Negroes. If there ever such thing as a white Negro, you were sold out by the generations before you. They sold you out. I was talking to this white lady one time, and she said the baby boomers were the worst. It's a white woman. The baby boomers were the worst. She said they didn't really want to pass no game. I thought this was only on far as the Negroes, Cadillacs, cocaines, and white women. I thought it was just them. No, they said. Let me pause this. My bad, y'all. I'm back. Yeah, they sold y'all out, man. The generations before us, they were supposed to put forth what they were supposed to do. Now, this white lady was telling me, she said, man, the baby boomers were the worst. She said they ain't want to pass nothing down. They want to hold it on for themselves. That's what she told me. She said the baby boomers were the worst generation. I was like, damn, that's crazy. And I'm not sure if she was a baby boomer or not, but she told me they were the worst ones. But anyway, yeah, those are some, get into a contract. At this point, it's critical. It's critical, y'all. It's, you got AI, you got, things just ain't the same. When I was coming out, I was just fresh in the game, but I didn't really have a lot of trouble. If y'all go back to my old videos in 2008, matter of fact, I think I'm gonna link this and show y'all, how it was in 2008. I'm gonna link this at the very end, to go to. Matter of fact, let me do that now. I need to do something about the line. Let me pull that out. All right, so that's what I got left. Oh, damn, that ain't enough. Some things go quick. So I want to show y'all what y'all might want to look at. I'm trying to be a little bit more interactive. So I wonder if I can put 2000. All right, look. Under the Adventures of DP. Now these some adventures. Some of these weren't just like I said about tech. These were my life as well. You know what I'm saying? Like talking about how I became myself, throughout my career. What was I doing? If you look at this one, this was in 2008, Storytime, Tall, Mocha, and Fine. This was like talking about when I was contracted. And the Pep in Your Step 2008, Saving Gas and Cool Rappers 2008. These were kind of around that time. Burnsville was kind of after that. So all of these old, if you look at the whole playlist of Adventures of DP, you could look at this whole playlist and there's gonna be some funny stuff. But if you look at this whole entire playlist, man, it's 60 videos where I'm just talking about just everything. I'm telling you, I was talking about all kind of stuff. So basically, like my career and what I was thinking, and so that's something to kind of check out. But this kind of gets this piggybacks off of, you know, how I actually got into the game. Things are a little different, but you can still use some of those tactics. So I'm gonna upload this. I'm gonna do another story time. We're gonna do the story time of gatekeeping our culture, the response. So I'm gonna show y'all that in a minute.